Good afternoon. I'd like to get this meeting of Painfree MC started today. A couple minutes late, but we only have one speaker so far, unless anybody else wanted to step up and volunteer to speak. Anybody? Okay. Excuse me. So it looks like we now have all of the roles filled for the day. I don't actually have any announcements other than the Northern Division Speech Contest, and that's what is that, Chris? Is that tonight?
Yes.
Tonight. So I did send out the flyer. I'll send out a reminder for anyone that can make it to Maple Grove, to the, I think it's called the Government Center, there to help cheer on Chris at 6:15. Start time. So we'll
Nice going, Chris. Congratulations.
Also, I remember now that I did make an announcement last week, and I actually know that Juan's not here to congratulate him on completing his Competent Communicator Manual, all 10 speeches.
Yes.
Great job. Definitely good motivation for everybody in the club to keep going on their CC manuals. I'm doing the invocation today, so I'll just introduce myself before handing the meeting over to our Toastmaster. So if everyone please stand up. It's kind of a spur of the moment quote that I found from Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's a motivational speaker. He says, "Loving people live in a loving world. Hostile people live in a hostile world. It's the same world." So just kind of putting things into perspective on how you view things, and people who view the same things and see two different things, kind of like the picture of the old lady and young woman. Depending on how you look at it, it can be the same thing. So just kind of keep that in perspective as we go throughout the week, saying that it's all in our mind, whether you choose to live in a loving world or a hostile world.
Nice.
And with that, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, Carlin.
Thank you. Welcome, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters. I want to also say congrats to Chris. I figured the president would say something, so good for you, and good luck in the next step in your contest career. Because once you start, you probably won't be able to stop. I just wanted to add about the dues. If anyone has dues, Tom's willing to take them to Maggie at the bank. $45. Thank you, Tom. I'd like to introduce Tom as our general evaluator today. He is stepping up to the plate last minute to take on this challenge. He's a risk taker, and if you would mind standing and just tell us a little bit about your team today.
As general evaluator, it's my job to evaluate how we conduct a meeting, whether we start and on time, and also to introduce the members of the evaluation team. We'll have one speech today, which will be given by Alan. He's going to be evaluated by Chris Rand. And the other members of the evaluation team are our timer and our on counter. So I would like to introduce them so they can say a little bit about what they'll be doing during the meeting. Our timer for today is John Kelly.
Okay. So I will be timing the meeting today, holding up the green, yellow, and red cards. For Alan's speech today is 5 to 7 minutes, so it'll be the green card at 5, yellow card at 6, and red card at 7. The evaluation portion is 2 to 3 minutes, so it'll be 2, 2.5, and 3 minutes for green, yellow, red. And table topics are 1 to 2 minutes, so we'll be holding up the green, yellow, red at 1, 1.5, and 2. So just to kind of remind us, it's very important to stay on time, whether it's in Toastmasters or in a business meeting, that we're all in a certain time period, and it's good to talk long enough, but not stay within a lot of time.
And our counter for today is Deb. Do you prefer Deb or Deb?
Deb is fine.
Deb is fine? Okay. If you'd like to just say a few words about what the counter is.
Process out. Today, for the odd counter, I'm going to be trying to pay attention to ahs, ums, ers, but, so, well, okay. apparently lip smacking. Did not know that was we might be paying attention to, or other sorts of body noises.
Uh-oh.
And that's all I have for the general evaluator introduction.
Thank you, Tom. And we will be looking forward to Wanzan's table topics later. He's very creative, good speaker, so we're going to be having a good time with that, and maybe even if you speak today, you might be called on. Or feel free to volunteer if you're inclined. Thanks, John, for that invocation. That was very nice. And Chris, would you let us know about the word of the day?
Yes, I will. As the Word of the Day sponsor, I'm going to introduce us all to the Word of the Day. And at the last second, because I forgot, I pulled up this one because in my previous life as a patent attorney, it came up all the time. Lexicographer, which actually I didn't know the real definition. I was going to make it up, but John helpfully gave me the actual definition, which is one who writes, compiles, or edits a dictionary. And this word comes up a lot in patent law because there's a saying that says that is the patentee is his own lexicographer, because you invent something and it's new, it doesn't have a name yet, so you have to make it up, and by law you are allowed to make up your own name for it. And which I tried to do with the definition. That's the word of the day.
Thank you. When I started Toastmasters, I was really scared to talk in front of people. And I, in fact, still am. I probably should have put some more deodorant on. But you have to, I'm thinking of Alan because he is such a good speaker. And I remember meeting you, I don't know, 4 years ago maybe, seeing you speak. And it's like, wow, he's just like taking charge. Good voice control. I mean, you look like you knew what you were doing. So I was glad to see that you were in Toastmasters when I came in. But it just makes me think that we're never 100% ready to talk. And I remember my first few times at Toastmasters, they called on me to do the table topics. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't talk. So one thing they did that helped me, and I know I've mentioned this before, is they just let us stand at our chair. We didn't have to come up front, because I think if I had to come up front my first maybe 3-4 times, I couldn't have done it. And the Toastmaster at the time too said, are you willing to do table topics, and any guests that were there? And I'm like, okay. I don't think I was even an official member yet. So the point is, take note from Alan. We don't have to be perfect. Take a chance. Think about yourself and what would make you comfortable speaking. I propose today, if anyone does not want to come up here for table topics, to just stand at your chair and just start talking. That's all you have to do. It's a good opportunity. You'll never really be ready to talk or get up front. And I know some minds tend to shut down if they have to talk on the cuff. So just when the opportunity comes, just take it and go for it. Take a deep breath, relax. And Alan, when you come up and speak, I know we're all going to be just pulling in all that inspiration that you're going to be giving us. So at this time, I'd like to continue to introduce Alan as our first speaker. I've already talked about him so much. Would you like to come up and
All right.
give your speech now?
All right. All right. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. She knew exactly what to do when I put my hand up.
Yeah.
You know, that's the high five.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all know what that means. We do that through our lives, whether we play sports, whatever we do. It comes up all the time. But do you know where the high five came from? It's actually a very interesting story, and that's what I'd like to tell you about today. There's some sad elements to it, but I think it's an important story that needs to be told. Now, when it was invented, the word high five didn't even exist. It was just an action that took place. The lexicographers had to come up with something to fit it afterwards. But I'll take you back to 1977, October 2nd, Dodger Stadium. It was the last game of the year. Dodgers were on a wild, magnificent run to the playoffs. They were already in it. And this last game, I don't remember how many men were on base, but Dusty Baker, you might know who he is, he's now a manager in baseball, he stepped to the plate and he smashed a huge home run. It was his 30th home run of the season. Dodger Stadium went wild, 46,000 fans. Not only were they going to the World Series, but they had 4 huge sluggers who all hit 30 home runs that year. So as Dusty Baker came around to home plate, who was there to greet him? A guy by the name of Glenn Burke, a rookie. He's a very popular guy in the clubhouse. He's standing there, arched way back, his hand way up there. No one had ever done that before. As Dusty Baker crossed the plate, he looked at Glenn's hand and he slapped it. He just said that seemed like the thing to do. Right after that, Glenn Burke took his place in the batter's box, smashed his own home run, the first of his major league career. When he got to the dugout, everyone greeted him with high fives. That, then and there, was the birth of the high five. Now the rest of the story is not as happy for Glenn Burke. After being a successful rookie that year at the age of 24, a secret came out about him. See, Glenn Burke was gay. He was one of the most popular guys in the clubhouse. Everybody loved him, but not Dodger management. They tried to hide this fact about him. They offered to pay him $75,000 if he would get married, to which he replied, "Well, I guess you mean to a woman?" This went on for some time, but the Dodgers did not want to have anything to do with him, and sadly they traded him the very next year in 1978 to the Oakland A's. Now many of the players were upset to see him go because he was so popular, he was so charismatic. And when he got to Oakland, where he grew up, he was not received in the same way. Players there avoided him. He experienced a lot of homophobia, gay slurs thrown around in his presence, and managers that refused to put him on the field. After a couple years of enduring this, he found himself in the minor leagues. No one wanted him to play on their team. So at the young age of 27, Glenn Burke retired from baseball, and he moved to San Francisco, where he did continue in sports. He played amateur softball, and he was a big star on a gay softball team. He took his team to the Softball World Series. Nevertheless, his life was in a decline, and in the following years he found himself mired in drugs, couldn't find a job. He was hit by a car, which took away his athleticism with a broken leg. And before his 40th birthday, he found that he had HIV. 2 short years later, after a sharp and grisly decline in health, Glenn Burke died. However, despite this sad turn of events in his life, we can see his legacy in the high five. While his life was in decline, we saw an amazing ascent of the high five across all sports. You could see little kids on Little League diamonds high-fiving each other after a great play, after a home run. It was seen in other sports. In basketball, after a slam dunk, it's the best way to greet a teammate, the high five. In fact, we see it beyond sports. Think about those of you with kids. How do you feel after seeing your kid in his spelling bee? They nailed that word. Yeah, high five. How about that killer presentation you did last week? High five. So Glenn Burke's legacy really is in how the high five is a great part of American society. And his sister remarked not so long ago, everyone around Glenn Burke knows that the truth is he invented the high five. But she really knew that it meant something when she was watching Jeopardy one day. She saw a very plain-looking, maybe Midwesterner, anonymous guy getting the clue. The inventor of the high five, with unflappable certainty, he buzzed in, beep, beep, beep. Who's Glenn Burke, he said. So I just want you to think about this. Whenever you want to just celebrate your victory